Across the United States, there are towns that look like paradise, surrounded by waterfalls, oceans, forests, and mountains where life feels calm and far removed from the outside world. These are some of the most isolated communities in the country. Getting there is not easy, and living there means being far from cities and the rest of society. Yet families have stayed for generations, choosing quiet and nature over everything else. These are 12 of America's most isolated towns where residents refuse to leave. Number 12. Supai, Arizona. Supai, Arizona sits at the floor of the Grand Canyon, 8 miles below the rim, surrounded by canyon walls that rise hundreds of feet on every side. Around 400 people live here, completely separated from the outside world. And this is the only place in the United States where mail is still delivered by mule. To reach Supai, you either hike or ride a horse 8 miles down a narrow desert trail, or you take a helicopter. That is it. No road, no bridge, no cars, because there is nowhere to drive them. Supai is the capital of the Havasupai tribe, one of the oldest continuously inhabited communities in North America. Their name literally translates to people of the blue-green water, and once you see Havasu Falls, the turquoise waterfall just outside the village, you understand why. The water gets its impossible color from calcium carbonate in the rock, giving it that supernatural glow. What most people do not know is that the Havasupai tribe holds the legal right to control all access to their land, meaning even the U.S. government cannot enter without their permission. Life here is hard. Groceries, building materials, medical supplies, everything must be flown in or carried down by mule. Floods have devastated the community more than once. Internet is limited. And still, the Havasupai have never left, because this canyon is not just where they live, it is who they are. Number 11. Kalaupapa, Hawaii. Most people have no idea this place exists. Everyone knows Hawaii for beaches and resorts, but on the northern coast of Molokai, sealed off by some of the tallest sea cliffs on Earth, nearly 2,000 feet of sheer volcanic rock dropping straight into the Pacific, sits a place with one of the most painful histories in American life. Back in the 1800s, leprosy, now called Hansen's disease, was spreading, and the government had no cure for it. Terrified of it spreading further, they made a brutal decision. Anyone diagnosed would be permanently removed from their home, separated from their family, and sent to this remote peninsula on Molokai. Not temporarily, for life. They were told they were never coming back. More than 8,000 people were exiled here over the course of over 100 years. Most of them had done absolutely nothing wrong. They were simply sick. Today, Kalaupapa is a national historical park with fewer than 20 permanent residents, elderly survivors, and park staff. Access requires a permit, and you must either hike 3 miles down a trail with 26 switchbacks or ride a mule. The cliffs make any other approach impossible. But here is the part that is honestly unbelievable. Despite everything, the people sent here built a real community. Churches, schools, gardens. They found beauty in the cliffs and in each other. A place that was meant to be a punishment became, for many, the only home they ever knew. Number 10. Stehekin, Washington. In the north, Cascades of Washington State, at the northern tip of Lake Chelan, one of the deepest lakes in North America, sits Stehekin. About 75 people live here year-round, and most people have no idea it even exists, because you cannot drive to it. There are no roads connecting Stehekin to the outside world. To get there, you take a ferry, a nearly 4-hour ride up the lake from the town of Chelan, or you charter a float plane. In winter, when the lake gets rough, the float plane is sometimes your only option. Stehekin sits at the edge of the North Cascades National Park, surrounded by glacier-carved peaks, old-growth forest, and waterfalls crashing through cedar and hemlock. The community has a one-room schoolhouse, a post office, a handful of lodges, and a small bakery that locals treat like sacred ground. There are roads within Stehekin, but they lead nowhere. They simply exist inside this closed little world. Residents choose this deliberately. Some families have lived here for 4 or 5 generations without ever wanting to leave, and there is not a single bar of self-service in the entire community. Grocery runs require planning days in advance. Medical emergencies mean evacuation. But on a clear morning when the light hits the mountains and the lake is still and the nearest traffic jam is 60 miles away by water, the trade-off makes perfect sense. Number 9. Tangier Island, Virginia. In the middle of the Chesapeake Bay, about 12 miles off the Virginia coast, sits Tangier Island, a low, flat strip of land home to a crabbing community since the 1600s. Around 450 people live here, and their island is vanishing beneath them. Tangier has lost 2/3 of its landmass since 1850. Erosion and rising sea levels eat away at the edges every single year. Some projections say the island could be uninhabitable within the next 25 years. The government has floated the idea of relocation. The people of Tangier have said no. They speak a dialect so old and isolated that linguists trace its features back to early British settlers. Their economy runs almost entirely on blue crab. Their culture is deeply religious, tightly knit, and resistant to change. To reach them, you take a ferry from Crisfield, Maryland, about an hour and 15 minutes across open water. No bridge exists, and none will be built. Quick note, if you are enjoying this video, we post every single week. Hit subscribe so you never miss one. Now back to Tangier. What you find when you arrive is a community that has functioned essentially the same way for 4 centuries. Golf carts instead of cars, narrow lanes between painted wooden homes, crabbers leaving the docks before sunrise. It is beautiful and it is heartbreaking because every year there is a little less of it left. Number 8. Whittier, Alaska. Imagine your entire town, neighbors, post office, school, grocery store, all inside one building. That is not a thought experiment. That is Whittier, Alaska, and it will genuinely blow your mind. Around 214 residents live in Whittier, and the overwhelming majority share a single 14-story concrete tower called Baggage Towers. The building contains a grocery store, medical clinic, church, laundry facilities, and a bed and breakfast. And there is even an underground tunnel connecting the tower directly to the school, so children never have to step outside during winter. In the harshest months, when massive storms roll in off Prince William Sound, residents can go weeks without going outdoors at all. Getting to Whittier requires passing through the Anton Anderson Memorial Tunnel, a 2.5-mile passage blasted through a mountain and the longest combined highway and rail tunnel in North America. Vehicles and trains share the same track, alternating directions on a schedule. You do not simply drive in whenever you want, you wait your turn. Whittier was originally built as a hidden military port during World War II, designed to stay concealed beneath clouds and mountains where enemy aircraft could not find it. The military left decades ago. The concentrated, compact way of living never changed. Residents describe a community closeness that most American neighborhoods have completely lost. And maybe that is not such a bad thing. Number 7. Hyder, Alaska. Hyder, Alaska has around 80 year-round residents. It sits at the end of the Portland Canal, a long, narrow fjord pressed between Alaska and British Columbia. And here is something most people find completely unbelievable. If you want to reach it from the United States by road, you cannot. There is no American route in. The only road access runs through Stewart, British Columbia. You cross into Canada, pass through a Canadian town, and then you arrive on American soil. There is no U.S. customs checkpoint entering Hyder. The government decided one was not worth maintaining this far out. You just drive in. When you leave, Canadian customs is waiting. The result is one of the strangest addresses in the country. Hyder runs on Canadian currency. Residents shop and send kids to school in Stewart. The local time zone follows Pacific, matching Canada rather than the rest of Alaska. The town has leaned into its identity with a tradition called getting Hyderized, downing a shot of pure grain alcohol at the local bar and earning a certificate to prove you survived. Beyond the quirks, Hyder sits inside a wilderness of staggering beauty. Glaciers, old-growth rainforest, rivers thick with salmon. In late summer, brown and black bears gather at Fish Creek just miles from town to feed, and you can watch them from a public viewing platform. It is one of the most spectacular addresses in America, even if getting there requires crossing another country. Number 6. Point Roberts, Washington. Here is a geography problem. Point Roberts. Washington is American soil. But to drive there from the United States, you must enter Canada, travel through British Columbia, and cross back into the United States. There is no other road. Point Roberts is a small peninsula, roughly 5 square miles, that drops just below the 49th parallel. When the US-Canada border was drawn along that line in 1846, no one gave much thought to this little tab of land hanging below it. Today, about 1,000 residents live in an American town that is, for all practical purposes, a peninsula of Canada. Children who want to attend high school cross 2 international borders every single school day. Emergency patients are transported to Canadian hospitals because the nearest American one is a 2-border drive away. And during COVID, when the US-Canada border shut down, Point Roberts residents found themselves cut off from both countries at the same time, completely stranded on their own peninsula with no way out. Groceries, mail, and deliveries all funnel through Canada first. And yet Point Roberts carries a genuine charm, quiet, unhurried, with a small marina and beautiful beaches along the Strait of Georgia. Many Canadian families own vacation homes here. Sunsets over the water are genuinely spectacular. It is technically America. It just takes a passport to get there from America. Number 5. McCarthy, Alaska. There are remote towns, and then there is McCarthy. McCarthy, Alaska sits inside Wrangell St. Elias National Park, the largest national park in the United States, bigger than the entire country of Switzerland. Somewhere between 40 and 60 people call it home year-round. To get there, you drive 5 hours from Anchorage on a road that turns to unpaved gravel through open wilderness. Then you reach the Kennecott River. For most of the town's history, the only way across was a hand-pulled tram, a small cable car you operated yourself, pulling hand over hand across a glacial river. A footbridge was added in the late 1990s, but here is the part nobody tells you: vehicles cannot cross it. If you drive to McCarthy, you park on one side of the river and walk into town with your bags. McCarthy grew up around the Kennecott copper mine, one of the richest copper deposits ever found in North America, operating from 1903 to 1938. When the deposit was fully exhausted and there was nothing left to extract, the company shut it down and left overnight. Tools on workbenches, furniture in rooms, equipment exactly where it was last used. The mine still stands today, frozen in time, exactly as they left it. What stayed behind were a handful of people too stubborn or too in love with the place to leave. Today, McCarthy runs almost entirely off the grid. Winters are long and brutal. The nearest hospital is hours away, and the landscape, massive glaciers, ancient mountains, rivers running gray with glacial silt, is unlike anything else on this continent. The frontier is still alive here. Number 4. Hanksville, Utah. Drive south from Salt Lake City for 4 hours, turn off the main highway, and keep going. The landscape will slowly stop looking like Earth. Rock formations grow strange and red. Vegetation disappears. The sky gets enormous, and eventually you arrive in Hanksville, Utah, a town of around 200 people sitting in the middle of one of the most otherworldly landscapes in the continental United States. Hanksville sits where the Fremont and Muddy Rivers meet, surrounded by eroded canyon lands, so Mars-like that NASA has actually used the nearby area to test Mars rover technology and prepare astronauts for life on another planet. Most people have no idea that exists. The Mars Desert Research Station, where scientists run simulated long-duration Mars missions, sits just a short drive from town. The nearest city of any real size is roughly an hour away through winding canyon roads. No chain restaurants. Cell service is unreliable. Summer heat can be brutal, but Hanksville is a gateway to extraordinary wilderness. And what is wild is that this town of 200 people sits within 2 hours of 5 national parks and monuments, including Capitol Reef, Goblin Valley, and the deep canyons of the Dirty Devil River. Geologists come to study rock formations millions of years old. Astronomers come because the darkness at night is absolute, and the Milky Way overhead feels close enough to touch. For the people who live here, that is more than enough. Number 3. Adak, Alaska. Take a map of Alaska and find the Aleutian Island chain, that long arc of volcanic islands sweeping west across the Pacific toward Russia. Now travel roughly 1,200 miles from the mainland, near the far end of that chain. You will find Adak Island, sitting in the middle of the Bering Sea, cold, windy, and fog-shrouded for most of the year. Adak was once a major U.S. military base. During World War II and through the Cold War, nearly 6,000 military personnel were stationed here, making it one of the largest American communities in the Pacific. In 1994, the military withdrew and the population collapsed virtually overnight. The infrastructure built for thousands still stands: empty streets, abandoned buildings, a runway long enough for military aircraft, now shared by somewhere between 70 and 100 year-round residents. There is no ferry to Adak. No road connects it to anything. You fly in on infrequent, expensive flights entirely at the mercy of the weather. A storm can shut everything down for days. What Adak offers in return is world-class fishing. The surrounding waters hold king crab, halibut, and salmon in numbers that draw serious fishermen from across the globe. The volcanic landscape is dramatic and raw. And standing at the far western edge of America, where the land finally reaches into the Pacific and lets go, is a feeling that belongs entirely to this place. Number 2. Monowi, Nebraska. Every town on this list is isolated. But Monowi, Nebraska takes isolation to a level that is honestly unlike anything else in this country. Monowi has one resident. Her name is Elsie Eiler. She is the mayor, the town clerk, the town treasurer, and the sole operator of the only business, the Monowi Tavern, a bar and grill she and her late husband Rudy ran together for decades. When Rudy passed away in 2004, Elsie became the only person left in town. Because Monowi is still an incorporated municipality, official government business must still happen. So Elsie grants herself a liquor license every year. She levies taxes on herself. She approves her own permits. She also runs the only election and votes for herself unopposed. She is, in the most literal sense possible, an entire government of one. The Monowi Tavern still operates, drawing travelers and journalists and curious visitors who make the drive out to the flat Nebraska plains just to meet the woman who is the town. Inside, the walls are lined with thousands of books that Rudy collected over a lifetime, a personal library he built so the community would have somewhere to read. Elsie has had every opportunity to leave. She has not taken any of them. Monowi is her home, and so she stays, running the bar, maintaining the roads, keeping the lights on in a town that without her would simply cease to exist. There is something both melancholy and deeply inspiring about that. Number 1. Mentone, Texas. And here we are, Mentone. Texas is not the hardest town to reach on this list. It does not require a boat, a mule, or a hand-pulled tram. But in terms of pure, unrelenting emptiness, in terms of a human settlement sitting inside the most profound solitude this country has to offer, nothing else comes close. Mentone is the county seat of Loving County, Texas. Loving County is the least populated county in the entire United States. The total population of the whole county sits somewhere between 60 and 80 people, and that number covers the entire county, not just the town. Mentone itself may hold as few as 19 residents on any given day. It has a courthouse, a post office, a gas station, and a handful of structures scattered across flat, sun-baked West Texas desert, and surrounding it, an emptiness that has to be experienced to be believed. The landscape is the Permian Basin, oil country, ancient ocean floor, flat in every direction for miles with no end in sight. The sky is enormous, the wind never stops. At night, the darkness is so complete that the Milky Way appears as a solid band overhead, star on star, with nothing between them and you. Loving County was named for Oliver Loving, the legendary cattle driver immortalized in Lonesome Dove. It has been sparsely populated since its founding, and there have been entire years where the county recorded 0 births. Not low, 0. The people who live here are ranchers, oil field workers, and families who have been on this land for generations. They are not here by accident. This land is theirs. Mentone holds on to its status as county seat because the law requires one, so the courthouse stands, the flag flies, and in one of the loneliest patches of earth in the United States, a small handful of people go about their lives, working, watching the sun drop over a landscape that stretches to the edge of everything. For sheer, uncompromising solitude, Mentone, Texas has no equal. Life in these towns looks peaceful, quiet, and almost untouched by the outside world, but it also means being far from cities, friends, and everyday convenience. So would you leave everything you have behind to live in one of these places, or would you feel too isolated? Tell me in the comments, and if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe for more.